So I'm getting far in the Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
And I've been sending you some screenshots all day because I'm in the Ewok village now. And there keeps being little peppered things. Like there's a little conversation you have when you go on like the side quest and somebody's like, oh, I think that was damaged during the Ewok Dulak War. And I was like, what?
Oh man.
Yeah, and like I found up in the village, like I found Tebow and I found Logray's hut, and it's definitely more like leaning towards Return of the Jedi, obviously.
Right.
But I found one side quest where I found an Ewok, and he says, our picture of that family that crashed here all that time ago is all jumbled. I don't care who did it as long as it gets fixed. So I was like, family who crashed? And so I go all around, and finally when I find Wicket's hut, in the corner, there's part of a picture, and you have to go and find the other pieces. And when you find the other pieces, it makes the Tawani family from Caravan of Courage. So Sindel and Mace, who you repeatedly called Sam while we recorded that episode. Right. It's a really clear reference to the Caravan of Courage in the Skywalker Saga video game. So I'm having a great time.
That's so funny, yeah.
You got to get on board.
I know, I'm so jealous. I got to get, I've been at the store 2 times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Lego Star Wars or Mario Super Strikers.
Yeah.
And I can't decide, so I just end up leaving.
Yeah, that's rough.
It's a tough one, right?
I understand. I mean,
the hours we put into that Super Strikers game, gosh. I mean, come on.
Do you remember there was one time, so back in the day, this was like college era where Steve and I were living in a cabin together.
Yeah.
We played Strikers all the time. And do you remember that one game? They're 5-minute sets. And we had one where we were just completely locked. And our overtime segment on Mario Strikers went for 10 minutes, twice as long as a game was supposed to be. Okay. And we were just like,
I think you won that game. You eventually won that game.
Did I? I don't remember, truly.
I think you did. Because it was the most amazing thing. And it was like, it was literally epic power shot. I would either miss or it would either be blocked. Yeah. And we were like absolutely stunned.
It was crazy.
Like, stop, like the game needs to end. Oh man, it was so good.
See, now we need to find out which of these are online co-op, because if Strikers is online co-op, then we have to get that. But
we have
anyway. All that to say, I've been anticipating the day which I got to Return of the Jedi portion of Skywalker Saga, and so far it has not let me down. I'm going to go ahead and call that canon. How about that?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I like how it puts Caravan of Courage back on the map. I'm sure most people are like, what family is this?
Truly, though, that's another thing. That's another thing, because, we talk about this a million times. We talked about it with the Zach Giolongo book that we read and everything. Yeah. That kind of implies that Caravan of Courage is before Return of the Jedi. I mean, it doesn't apply. It outright says it.
Yeah.
The Caravan of Courage is pre-Return of the Jedi, so...
Didn't we decide though?
The question that will never be answered
or something? I can't even remember.
This is what always happens. We're always like one or the other, like depending on what the thing is. Yeah, you're like, oh no, that's proof, and then something else pops up, and we're like, oh, that's proof. So
that's
I don't know.
Also
anyway,
proof. Yeah,
Skywalker Saga, you got to do it.
Welcome to This Endorian Life, a Star Wars podcast from the Radio Meanwhile Network. My name is Steve Rudd.
I'm Nick Gunning, and we're following the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi to the Ewok TV movies, the 80s cartoon, and beyond. We're going a little beyond today, but it is animated Ewoks on Endor, so not that far.
I've heard the listeners love the Beyond episodes, so here's a little bit of dessert for everyone.
Yeah.
So today we're discussing the television special, Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation. This special debuted on Disney Plus on August 5th, 2022.
Mere days ago.
Days ago, yeah.
At our time of recording, yeah. How do you, don't tell me how you feel about this one. I have a sense of what you think about this one, but in general, have you been a fan of the Lego Star Wars stuff? Because they've been doing it for a long time now, even Disney merger.
So it's funny. The only one I watched was the, what was it? The
Terrifying Tales.
The Terrifying Tales. Yeah. I haven't seen the holiday special yet. I'm saving that. I'm banking that one for.
We got to do it.
Yeah, we got to do it.
We got to do it like Christmas for sure.
They're all right. I was halfway through. I was kind of thinking, like, who is this for? Because there's like little complex aspects to it.
I know,
but it's just plain silly.
I know,
it's just silly.
Well, I know I watched. There's one called Droid Tales that I watched with my son, and there's a few that were on Disney Plus or just like the DVDs. I remember like the Padawan Menace and stuff. I usually have a good time with them, and you're right. I mean, there are always little, little like Easter eggs for people who are hardcore fans, like looking for deep cut references, but they don't get in the way of a kid who doesn't know the ins and outs of Star Wars. So I feel like they're pretty successful.
Yeah,
maybe this one was less special, but we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Today's episode was written by David Shane and directed by Ken Cunningham. This is the same creative team who did Terrifying Tales and the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, and various other Lego and Star Wars things. But these specials seems to be like this is the group who does them.
Okay.
Our cast for today includes, of course, D. Bradley Baker as Wicket. So there he is, Wicket, right at the top there for us. Anyway, I don't know if anybody else would list Wicket as the top, but yeah, I checked, and I don't think D. Bradley Baker has done that voice before. So
he's instantly better than season 2 Ewoks. Look at
that. better than Denny Belk. Yeah. So we have people reprising roles from all across the Star Wars universe, though. So from the original trilogy, we have Anthony Daniels back as C-3PO. And honestly, has C-3PO ever spoken a line that wasn't voiced by Anthony Daniels?
I know. It would be heresy.
It really would. So Anthony Daniels is back as C-3PO. Billy D. Williams back as Lando Calrissian. And I know he's done quite a few of the Lego things in recent years. But Billy D. Williams, I feel like, you remember back in the day when we would play like Jedi Outcast or Jedi Academy, there was a bit with Lando in there, and it was Billy D. Williams. So I think he's always kind of been, open to voicing Lando and stuff, which I think is cool because it's always recognizable, and he always goes for it. So I love it.
There was a couple recognizable voices in this.
Yeah, there were.
So, right. Tell us about them.
From the Clone Wars cartoon, we have Matt Lanter back as Anakin Skywalker. For our friends on 90210, here we go. Matt Lanter also is a primary character on the CW years of 90210.
Oh, no way.
But here he is back reprising the Anakin Skywalker role. D. Bradley Baker is also voicing Boba Fett, which I'm counting because he was the voice of the clone troopers in Clone Wars. And since Boba Fett is just, a glorified clone trooper, I'm going to count that as a reprisal.
That's a reprisal, he's a clone.
Yes. James Arnold Taylor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Kevin Michael Richardson as Jabba the Hutt, all from the Clone Wars cartoons. From the sequel trilogy, we have Kelly Marie Tran back as Rose Tico. We have some celebrity voices. So much like Terrifying Tales, we have 3 vignettes here, and each one has sort of like, this is the celebrity for this vignette. So first we have Yvette Nicole Brown from Colvette Valeria, probably best known from Community. Were you a Community fan?
No, I wasn't, though I'm told I should watch that I would like it.
Yeah, get on board. Get on board. We have Weird Al as Vic Vankov in the Darth Vader on the Beach section. And again, Weird Al. I went a few years back, my wife and some friends and I, we went to see a Weird Al concert. And I feel like you forget just what an amazing musician Weird Al Yankovic is until you're like sitting there, and it's just like so impressive, like a musical genius, very impressive. And he was
lyricist. He's very clever. Very, very clever.
Yep, and then we have Thomas Lennon as Wick Cooper, probably best known for Reno 911, wouldn't you say?
Reno 911, that's it. Yeah, I was going to say Reno 911. Oh, yeah, I don't know what I was going to say. But yeah, it's Reno. I recognized his voice. I was like, that's the officer from Reno 911.
Every time he pops up. He was recently playing Mxyzptlk in the Supergirl live-action series, so it's always fun when he pops up.
Wait, is that how you say that name?
Oh,
Mxyzptlk? I don't even know.
Sometimes they say Mxyzptlk, and sometimes they say Mxyzptlk. I think it just depends on how fancy you want to be.
Mxyzptlk? Yeah, that villain.
He was also Joey's hand twin in Friends from that classic episode of Friends.
I don't remember that.
Oh, it's fun. They're at a casino. As far as legacy characters go, we have Eric Bauza as Luke, which I don't even remember Luke being in this, but he is credited. Do you remember seeing Luke?
Luke was in this?
Did we get
was
just
he part
like
of
a
the
little
family vacation?
I don't know if we just got a little bit of a Luke voice at the Jedi Temple.
There was a mention of Luke when they dropped him off at the Jedi Temple.
So maybe there was just they're like, one-off.
Have fun with Uncle Luke. And then that was it.
Yeah, I don't know. But he is credited on IMDb, so shout out to Eric Bauza there. Shelby Young is back as Leia, and as we learned in Terrifying Tales, Shelby Young is also the voice actress who voices Nisa in Forces of Destiny. So every time we see the Ewoks there, Shelby Young is voicing another princess, Princess Nisa. We have Ross Marquand as Han Solo, Matt Sloan as Darth Vader. this is an odd thing. Matt Sloan only has 3 acting credits, and the rest of it, he's like a visual effects supervisor working on a ton of things. So his 3 credits are voicing Darth Vader in this, and then playing Plo Koon in episodes 2 and 3 of the prequel trilogy. Kind of weird upgrade, I guess.
Yeah,
to go from Plo Koon to Darth Vader feels like
Jedi to Sith.
Yeah. We have Jake Green as Poe Dameron, Helen Sadler as Rey, Matthew Wood as Ben Solo, and Omar Benson Miller as Finn. And Finn is kind of like our lens character for this.
Yeah.
He's the one who's encountering all the Force ghosts and, having the stories told to him. So Finn is really the primary character here, which is what we were saying we wish would have happened in Terrifying Tales.
Right.
So here we got a little bit more Finn. Our featured cast members for today: Yvette Nicole Brown and Thomas Lennon. The two of them starred together, actually, in the CBS remake of Neil Simon's The Odd Couple. Yvette Nicole Brown played Danny, the assistant to Matthew Perry's Oscar Madison. And Thomas Lennon took over the role of Felix Unger, a role that was played by Jack Lemmon in the movies and Tony Randall in the original series. Have you seen this show?
I have not seen the show.
Ran for 3 seasons.
I know you love this, though.
I do. It didn't do so hot, but I mean, it got 3 seasons. It's a decent amount of episodes, and it's one that I've rewatched multiple times. Like if I'm I was flying to a conference for work and I downloaded a bunch of episodes of this, and it's just like whenever I'm like, I just need to chill and toss something on, this show is my go-to.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and they were both here. Like two of the cast members were in this.
That's really cool. Fun, so. That's funny.
Yeah. I was gonna say let's do the uber detailed plot, but what's the opposite of Uber? Because it's small.
I don't know. Uber. No, that's super.
I don't think
super
that's
duper Uber.
That's it.
Yeah, this is a very concise. Plot.
It is. It's short and sweet, and it's to the point.
Yes, the Cliff Notes. So the Cliff Note version of Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation. The sequel gang arrive on the galactic cruise ship the Halcyon for a group vacation. Finn hopes to enjoy some relaxing quality time with his friends, but his hopes are shattered when they all want to do separate things. Roaming the ship on his own, Finn encounters the Force ghosts of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Princess Leia. All 3 tell a vacation story from their own past in hopes to teach Finn an important lesson about how to enjoy meaningful quality time with his friends. The Halcyon is truly a magical and relaxing place to enjoy spending time with those you love. But wait! Cue the Ewoks! Princess Leia's story is set on the forest moon of Endor. Her family arrives for a mini vacation, but it's quickly disrupted by some furry and reportedly inconvenient little critters. The Ewoks! The local resort owner hoped that the Solo family would get rid of the Ewoks, but when they meet in the forest, they instantly recognize one another. Instead of taking sides, Han and Leia help the resort owner and the Ewoks come to a mutual agreement to go into business with each other. The end.
So I didn't look this up ahead of time, but I saw the trailer, and in the trailer you see a bunch of Ewoks, and I was like, oh, there are Ewoks in this. But by the time the first 2 stories were ending, I was like, ooh, I hope there actually are Ewoks in this.
I know, right?
So I was excited when Act 3 was like an Ewok story on Endor. Pretty good.
It was on Endor. Yeah. So,
well, right off the bat, I love that Lando was just the cruise director on this ship. That makes perfect
totally
sense
worked.
to me.
Yeah.
And I was a little disappointed that we never actually saw him. We only saw like the hologram of him being like, "Welcome to the Halcyon." That's all we got,
I mean, you've seen the Star Wars, the Lego Star Wars special, right?
Yeah.
Is there? I'm just gonna guess. It's a pretty good guess. Does that have to do with a resort on a planet? Because Terrifying Tales is basically Vader's palace is being turned into a resort.
A resort
on Mustafar.
Right.
This one is a resort in space. And then a resort on Endor. Let's be honest, that's what he's doing there too.
True. You're right.
And it's just what's the deal with the resort thing? Like that's
I guess so. They found a theme and they liked it. This you're right. This one had a lot of similarities to Terrifying Tales. I'm actually kind of looking forward to doing the episode on the Lego Holiday Special because it's I'm not going to say it's complex, but it's significantly more complex than Terrifying Tales or Summer Vacation.
Okay.
It's one continuous story, and you do see little sections and stuff, but it's very different. So no, it's not quite the same, but definitely there's a thread here. I guess I thought this one maybe pushed it a little too far as like the wackiness of it. I mean, Terrifying Tales was pretty wacky, but like Terrifying Tales also had some legit scary parts, or in the
and
villain
suspense.
Right.
Yeah.
The villain in that still seemed villainous and stuff. Whereas here, by the time we get to like Vader and the Emperor, like on a beach, there's no anything left, you know.
You think it's going to be like really good, and then it just kind of falls apart very quickly.
Yeah, it does. It does. I was glad we brought it home with the Ewoks because I thought that it ended.
Yeah.
I thought the Ewok one was the best one, and not just because I like the Ewoks best.
I think so.
I just think it worked as a story better and was the most successfully integrated. Like, look at this goofy subplot and these more serious characters. It just worked a little better. The first one I liked that. So this is like set on Tatooine, and there's a woman who's like a spy, and she's hiding, and she does kind of a, oh, this is my husband, and pulls Obi-Wan into it. That's Yvette Nicole Brown. She's playing Colvette Valeria. What did you think of this first one, where we're in like Tatooine and we're dancing and singing?
I mean, I thought it was all right. I didn't really mind. It's just silly. Like, it didn't try to be serious and then end up being campy. It was just kind of like, all right, this is just silly.
So I was watching this with my son, and when eventually Obi-Wan has to create a distraction. So she pushes him up and he sings with the band, which I thought was pretty stupid. And I thought, oh, that's going to be my Oak of Arc moment. But my son the whole time was like, I was like, he was really liking it. So, you know, I guess they know what they're doing. I liked that the design of Obi-Wan and like the vibe they went for was that of the new Obi-Wan Kenobi live action series.
Yeah.
The hair and the look and everything, like the costume was very much of that. So I kind of like that they pulled that in a little bit. They did that a few times where they made some references to things.
He said the line too.
I was like, oh, cool.
He said the line.
Yeah, he was like, oh, hello there. Yeah.
That was important.
It was. I thought that one was goofy, but yeah, I mean, like you said, it's like, it was fine. It was fun. And I mean, there are crazy, like, singing, dancing numbers, especially in the George Lucas redone versions of the original trilogy. So why not?
Well, this one also, like, they all kind of had, if you caught it, they all kind of had a moral lesson to each of the stories. And this one was, enjoy your vacation while you can.
Yeah.
Right? And I thought, oh, that actually kind of makes sense. Like, we hear from Leia and Anakin, like, Obi-Wan, it was a recurring joke. Yeah. They're like, wait, Obi-Wan said to have fun? That's so great. You know, like, it was a silly thing, but like, it kind of worked. So, you know, in retrospect, I was like, oh, okay. Like,
no, it's fine.
And it works, right? It didn't feel.
I thought it was.
Didn't feel too out of place.
It was funny to have Salacious Crumb manning the grill. That cracked me up.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
The thing that I noted, and I feel like the same thing happened in Terrifying Tales, where we actually got background on who Ren was and like the Knights of Ren and all that. Like, they gave them information that we didn't really have from the sequel trilogy. And I felt like this did a little bit of that too, because Obi-Wan, when he first appears, was like, you know, I appear to Jedis in need, and he's talking to Finn. And so I was like, oh,
what is with that?
Are we just straight up saying
that's said twice?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Because Finn's like, you felt a Jedi in need? He says that to Anakin, and Anakin was like, yep. And I'm like, no.
But see, I like it because that was definitely hinted at in the sequel trilogy. Like, they were definitely going in that direction. And then, for whatever reason, like, they didn't actually do it. But the way he, like, displays force powers in there, the way he wields the lightsaber and stuff, you know, I think that was there in a draft that, like, didn't make it. But I thought it was kind of interesting that they're just saying, like, no, we're going for it now.
I feel like they should have.
Oh, definitely they should have.
I liked Finn. I really liked Finn, and they kind of pivoted to Poe,
right? Which
was cool, but like Poe to me should have been like the Wedge Antilles type character, where like he's always there, he's reliable. Well, give him a few lines, give him something to do, and he's going to do it. But like not centered. The third movie is basically like the Poe and Rey movie.
Yeah, it is,
and it's just like where did that come from?
A lot of things went wrong in the sequel trilogy, and we've already vowed never to do an episode on The Last Jedi. So all I'll say
we're
is
never doing it.
I feel like originally they had planned to kill Poe, and then they liked him so much they kept him around, and I kind of think that was the thing that really sort of damned the series, because then there's no room for Finn.
Yeah.
It was like, choose Finn or Poe.
There's no room for Finn. Yeah.
And I think that's really one of the major weaknesses of that trilogy, is to just like let Finn kind of drift away. So I know it's not in there, but I kind of appreciated that they were just kind of coming out and saying, yeah, you know what? Finn's a Jedi and we're going to deal with that. You know, maybe that'll be a Lego special down the road or something.
Comic books or something. I did get that hint of like, all right, they're going to They're gonna change something. So they're pivoting on like who's important now in the Star Wars universe.
Which I'm okay with. I mean, I feel like after The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker was such a desperate, like, how do we fix this? How do we get things back on track? That I can hardly knock it for the things that I don't like about it, because I feel like it was just trying to piece things back together. But again, we can't talk about The Last Jedi. So,
well, you know what's really funny? That I did not know that Kelly Marie Tran was the voice of Rose Tico, her own character. I didn't recognize her.
Yeah,
I didn't recognize her at all.
I don't think she was in Terrifying Tales, but she is Rose in the holiday special too. So she's
which
done
is funny because I was just like, a lot of the voices I did not like, and hers was one of them. It's actually her, which is funny. Like, voice acting is tough. Voice acting is very tough.
It is.
She was very flat.
Yeah.
In her delivery, I thought. So
that's the thing I found with people who, not all the time, but often, people who aren't necessarily voice actors doing it. Like Oscar Isaacs is a great example. He voices Poe in the Star Wars Resistance show and just doesn't do a good job.
Yeah, I believe
and
that.
And like we just watched DC Super Pets, my son and I did, and John Krasinski voiced Superman and also didn't do a good job. And it's just like,
really?
Yeah, it's just like voice acting and acting are just different skills, You got
to get into it. Yeah,
you really do.
Interesting.
You got to put it all in there.
I'm ready to do it. No, I'm ready to do it myself. I need to get into voice acting.
You got a great voice for it. You got a great voice for it. Oh, your episode with Crystal, didn't that drop?
No, there was a break. So it's going to drop, I think, next week or the following week. Something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, they're taking a break, much needed break.
Okay.
So yeah, it'll
keep an eye out for episode 17, and you'll get a little sample of Steve's voice work.
Oh yeah, we'll see if you recognize me.
Our second of the vignettes is easily the worst one in my mind, and that's the Vader and the Emperor go on a beach vacation.
Although I do like the beaches of Scarif. That was really good. I just thought that was really good, and it was like the pre-Imperial like. Which is funny because it's like, oh yeah, and that's how a base was made.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny. Like,
I guess that, you're right. No, that
was clever. Like, check out the beaches. Because I remember watching Rogue One and being like, wow, that's really beautiful place. Like,
that's
I would
true.
love to be there.
I didn't even think about that. You're right.
It's like the worst place for an Imperial base.
When it starts, they're like, the Emperor's just bored and doesn't have anybody to conquer anymore, and they won and everything. And I thought that whole thing was kind of funny. I just feel like even in past Lego stuff, they've still kind of kept Darth Vader somewhat menacing. And in this one, he's just like a goofy little brother.
He's too dopey. Yeah.
He is too dopey. And I know like that's the name of the game in a special like this, but I feel like even in the Lego Holiday Special or Terrifying Tales, he is still a villain. He's still like a scary character, even though he has like light moments. But this was just a straight up, Darth Vader's a dumb, like teenage younger brother.
Yeah,
I didn't like
that's kind of what he was like. That was,
but I did like Weird Al.
I was gonna say, Weird Al was fun. That was a lot of fun. I thought that worked really well.
I liked that the Emperor was drawn back in when the trophy was naming someone the ruler of the beach. And he was like, I must win. So funny.
I must win. Yeah,
that was funny enough.
I was waiting for the Force cheating during the games too, and I knew it was coming. Like, it was perfect. I thought that one was fun.
Okay.
Although I didn't like Vader's voice, I thought that was a struggle to listen to. It just
I thought so too. Yeah, you're right.
I think they kind of missed the mark on like how to modulate the guy's voice. He
did have one line that I laughed out loud at when he finally is like, "Do you think I want to be here? I don't even want to be here. It's like a swamp in this armor."
Yeah, I thought there was. I mean, in that one, I thought there was a lot of very clever recycled usage of quotes from the original trilogy or from other, from other movies that they kind of incorporated into this specific episode, into the specific flashback too. Like, I thought they did very well at that. But like, you're right. The premise of it was just like they just made it up as they went along. Yeah. Like, oh, let's do a game after it, and let's do the song, and then a game, and then.
So what was Anakin's like moral lesson that he was trying to give Finn for this one?
This one is do what you love.
Oh.
Do what you love, right? Okay, that's what that was the second one.
Anakin loved killing younglings, so he did it.
I know, right? So he did it. The third one. Let's move to Endor.
Let's do it. First of all, spoiler alert for Rise of Skywalker. But I kind of forgot that Leia was dead. And so when she showed up as a Force ghost, I was like, Leia. Oh, Leia's dead. It was a whole kaleidoscope of emotions.
Because she showed up as her young self, and that's what threw me off. I was like, oh. She showed up in like the buns, right? The buns and white gown.
No, it is a white gown, but it's the white gown from the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, okay.
Where it shows her and Luke as Force Ghosts. I thought the same thing, though. I thought we were going A New Hope, Bun Leia, but no, it was Force Ghost Leia.
That threw me off. I was like, oh, what? And then I did kind of forget she was dead too. So when it was like Force Ghost Leia, I was just like, what?
Yeah, it took me a minute.
Definitely. Oh yeah, those movies
for a loop. But I liked early on in that one. So basically, the plot here is that Han and Leia are taking Ben Solo on a little trip before he goes to his Jedi training.
We finally get the family vacation.
We finally do. We got it. But I felt like that was a dark end point because we know what happens when he goes away for his Jedi training, and so it was kind of like. I wish they wouldn't have even said that they were just like, while you're growing up, we want to go on a vacation. But they really put it in context of like, you're going to go
enjoy
here
your time with Uncle Luke.
Uncle Luke's maybe going to try to kill you and things are maybe going to go real bad. But before that, we'll go on a little vacay. But early on in that, speaking of referencing other things, they go, I don't remember what planet they're on, but they're like, this is where Chewie and I first met. And Leia's like, oh, when you got thrown into a pit and Chewbacca tried to eat you, which is a reference to Solo. Which I thought was pretty cool, you know.
Oh, I don't remember what planet that was.
I don't remember
some war planet, war-torn planet. Yeah.
I think they did say it, but I didn't remember. Actually, I don't know. Do you like Solo? How do you feel about Solo?
I thought it was all right. I think it got a lot of heat because of the tragic direction The Last Jedi took. That people took out their anger on Lucasfilm, on Disney.
Yeah.
On Solo. Well, I thought it was fine, but I set my bar low. Because I knew that they could never truly, after reading the Han Solo trilogy, which I thought is great,
AC Crispin,
that they could never really, AC. I mean, she did a great job. I mean, I could talk all day about that. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
I thought it was very lighthearted and fun, and they had double crossing, and it was scoundrelly. And
I was first in line.
Like how he learned his lesson.
I was first in line to say nobody wants a Han Solo movie. Please don't do this. You know, like I did not. I had no interest in that.
Didn't want it.
But we went to see it, and I was like, I guess I thought of it more as like this is just a fun sci-fi action adventure movie.
Yeah.
I think it just kind of works as its own thing. So like if you're doing like a Star Wars rewatch, do you have to watch Solo? Definitely not.
No.
But I think you know it adds something nice if you want to, and I think if you're just going to pick up one, I like how self-contained it is, even though it dangles some threads.
Yeah.
But
I thought the casting they did poorly on. They shouldn't have done Khaleesi. I like her; she's great, but like literally Han Solo, everyone was like, "Who is that?" But then everyone else knew, like, "Oh, that's Woody Harrelson."
Yeah.
Oh, that's the guy from the those creepy. What is it? What's the
which one are you talking about?
The creepy movies with like the puzzles, the ones with Tom Hanks.
Saw?
No, the ones with Tom Hanks. The guy that does like the self-flagellation.
Oh,
he's the evil.
Oh, Paul Bettany. You're trying to get to Paul Bettany.
Yeah, I love him. He's great. But like. That was. I mean, like.
But you didn't wait. Hold on. You went to try to get me to guess Paul Bettany. You went Angels and Demons, and not like the Vision from Avengers.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's the Vision. Okay, yeah. I was actually going to say Priest first, but I couldn't remember the name of that. Wow. I just remembered it now.
I might have gotten that. A Knight's Tale.
That's Chaucer in A Knight's Tale. Yeah, he's so Chaucer, great.
Yeah.
But like he's great. But they did. I mean, literally everyone was a pretty well-established actor except for Han Solo, which I thought that was a big mistake. I'm sure he walked into that room and he's like, sweet. Oh, famous actors. All right, here we go. Another shoot I got to fill.
I don't think that's not super uncommon, especially when you're casting somebody. I could see the benefit of casting an unknown just because you don't go in with all the baggage that, like, for example, that Robert Pattinson had when he went in as Batman.
True. Yeah.
Like there is some benefit to that. But anyway, this is not a solo episode.
Sorry,
whatever this is called. How I spent my summer vacation with Legos. So so they decide to go to Endor. Leia's like, he doesn't want to hear like boring stories about your childhood. Let's go on a vacation. So they go to Endor, and they're going to, like, I guess just stay in a little resort.
Yeah.
But the resort is like empty and abandoned. and run by Thomas Lennon, because the Ewoks are just terrorizing everything that happens there.
And that's how we meet them.
So right away, Thomas Lennon gets like pulled up in a trap, and the Ewoks pop out, and Leia and Wicket have a really nice Leia, Wicket, which I actually thought, even though it was for laughs, it was a genuinely sweet moment, and is the only time I've ever seen, like on any kind of screen, cartoon, movie, or anything, Leia interacting with like the Ewoks post Return of the Jedi. So even though it was a goofy little thing, I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool to see them come back.
Yeah, and even Han was like, "Oh, I love the little fur balls," or something like that.
Yeah.
Like he had said in Return of the Jedi.
And 3PO has a line where he's like, "Yes, I'm willing to be worshipped as your god again."
Yeah. You know? I thought that was, yes, I am once again a golden god. You know, he says something like that. It's like, oh, geez. I love how they were really embracing that, you know?
Yeah.
It's just too easy. It's too easy.
The thing that I thought was very cool, though, was there's a whole subplot where Ben Solo wants to fly the Millennium Falcon, and some friends at the camp get him to go up in the Millennium Falcon. Anyway, they find themselves in a debris field, and Han and Leia realize that the only debris field that could be up there is the remnants of the Death Star.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really cool thing.
Yeah, they're like, wait a minute, there's no asteroid field. You know, C-3PO realizes, actually, there's no asteroid field there, you know?
Yeah.
So I thought that was very clever. Very, very clever.
I did too. I thought it was fun. So, you know, that kind of resolves where they're like, oh, we're proud of you. And they go and drop him off to be almost murdered by Luke and then turn into a villain.
Have fun at sleepaway camp.
It's like, I'm sure it'll be fine.
There's a sign that says like Camp Crystal Lake, Endor.
Yeah. Let us know if Uncle Luke is watching you sleep, because it could mean he senses a dark side.
Leia does go like, just be careful. Don't come back missing a hand. It's kind of a thing, you know. I thought that was good. Like,
pretty funny.
Oh man!
So all of these stories, I guess, make Finn realize that the reason why he wanted to do this trip and why he's avoiding people and why he's bummed is because they're like splitting up now, and it's hard for him to deal with that. And so like he just like loves his friends, and they all love him, and that's pretty much the gist of it, right? They're all kind of like,
and
I'm glad we are friends.
The moral lesson from this one is no one's ever really gone, and I just like rolled my eyes like, ugh. That trashy saying from
that's a very Star Warsy.
It's so dumb though. Like, oh man, it's so corny to me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, okay, so look, my son liked this one. I had a fine time watching it. I wasn't like bored or desperate to end or anything.
Yeah,
I do think it's the weakest of these specials that I've watched so far. I can't really see myself ever wanting to rewatch it. Whereas, like, I would roll Terrifying Tales some summer, you know, with my son or whatever, or the holiday special later. But I can't really see a world in which I would willingly watch this again.
Well,
how do you feel?
I think you're right. And I think the reason why is because in Terrifying Tales, it's about 50-50, I'd say, with the current plot, like present time plot and flashbacks. And this is pretty much like 80% flashback stories.
Yeah.
And 20% current plot line. And you're just kind of like, what? You know, like it's basically one flashback just kind of rolls into the next one with like...
It's just a frame story. That's all it is.
Exactly. It's a clip show. And, you know, halfway through, I was like, oh, here we are again doing the whole flashback things. And I thought, should I hate this because of this? And I was like, why do they keep doing this? Like, this is the second movie, and I'm realizing they're doing this. And I realized I think the reason why they did it is so that they can include more characters, right? Because if they make it the sequel, if they make the plot sequel characters, they can only have Rose, Finn, Rey, Poe, C-3PO, R2-D2, and that's it.
BB-8, don't forget BB-8.
Yeah, but they didn't have BB-8.
He was there.
Oh, was he there? I don't even remember.
Yeah, he didn't do much, but he was there.
The only way to include the original characters is to have flashbacks. So that's why they keep doing flashbacks. And I thought, why are they so afraid of just including everyone in the episode? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
You know?
Or, I mean, just do, I don't know, they keep doing these specials and stuff. Have one have them set at different times. You know, the Christmas one is set in the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
The Halloween one is the sequel, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Or do the Christmas one like, oh, the whole family's here, even Cousin Ray.
Yeah.
You know, like, so it's like things like that, you know, like... Crazy Uncle Darth Sidious.
So I think it sounds like we're on the same page, that it's like, yeah, you know, like it's fine, it's fun, it's good for kids, it's a good like family watch. We kind of like watched this while having dinner one night, and it was totally fine.
It was like it was 48 minutes. If it was longer,
true.
Oof, I'd have been like, dude.
I would give it a respectable, like, considering what it is and its intended audience. I'd give it a 3.5. That's how many yub nubs
I was going
3.5
yub nubs too. Yeah, because it's got a lot of room for improvement, but I didn't hate it. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait for this to be over.
Same. Speaking of room for improvement, what's your Oak of Arc moment, Steve?
So I had a couple, because there was a couple like small things that I was just like,
yeah.
Calling Finn a Jedi multiple times, that bothered me. I was just like,
you're such a stickler for like what
you just can't do that.
What's there?
You can't do that. I mean, you can't do that and in like 3 months from now release a comic book about Finn becoming a Jedi. Like, you just can't do that.
Yeah,
you can't.
I was a little surprised. I was a little surprised that they didn't leave it ambiguous, but
right, yeah,
it didn't bother me, because I feel like that's always been something that you kind of recognize in the sequel trilogy. But I know how your brain works. I know what a stickler you are for little factoids. So
yeah, I also thought some of the voices were just awful.
Oh yeah,
and I know I like those flashback lines, or like the recycling of lines. I really thought the redoing the "I love you, I know" between Han and that was really. I was just like, that's like one of the most romantic. Yeah, I was just like, I mean, I get it. Like, it's to his son, so it's. But like, to me, I was just like, no. I mean, I drew the line at that one. Like, that's the ultimate, like, between Han and and Leia. That's their line.
Yeah. I mean, I would almost give it to the entire center short. Darth Vader in a tank top, like Darth Vader being just stupid, like start to finish, I think is my Oak of Arc series of moments. I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. That was the part that I was kind of like, oh, this is dumb. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm watching a dumb thing now. So I got to give it that. I got to give it to that.
It's like the part where he's got that crazy fruit hat on, it's like porgs and stuff. And the guy's like, hey, I recognize you. And it's like, yeah, okay. Like, we're going to play that game. Much. Like, he's just wearing a hat. It's like literally all, he's all the same clothes, just wearing a hat, and he can't recognize him.
Yep. Yep.
Your Oak of Arc wasn't Palpatine in his one piece retro, like 40s swimsuit.
I mean, yeah, I guess I just care less about Palpatine. The surfboard with the Imperial logo was funny.
I thought that was really good. It would have been funny if Palpatine was in this like pair of shorts with like melted candle wax skin, just like oh gosh, that would have been so good. So they went with a one piece like Farmer John shorty, like
right.
Like we almost saw. We almost saw his Palpatine's tattoos.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh man.
What was your Ichiwawa moment?
So for me, it was my first Ichiwawa moment was the beaches of Scarif, where I was just like, oh, I like it. Like, it's just like,
that's a good joke.
That's clever.
That's a good joke. That's one of those ones that's kind of buried in there, because that one didn't really occur to me. Like, I heard the name and I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I wasn't thinking about Rogue One or anything. So
yeah, that came to me right away, and I was just like, clever. So, it is pretty beautiful. And then my other one of the dialogues, the classic lines that really fit into it. I thought that it's funny. We don't really like the second one, but that's the one where they do so many classic lines that really fit. Yeah, callback, member berries, and it was I liked the reoccurring Obi-Wan joke where I was just like, I'm laughing at this, but there's zero context other than the context of this movie that like you never really get the sense that Obi-Wan is so serious. But I mean, he kind of is serious, but he's not like the I can have fun, like he turns into this like fun old man, but then like the reoccurring joke is like, wait, Obi-Wan said just have fun. I don't, that just made me laugh. I was just like, oh, that's funny. I don't know why I'm laughing, but I thought it was funny.
Good.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I don't know if this has ever happened before, but you can see I wrote it down right here that my Ichiwawa moment was Finn being a Jedi.
I can see it. But
look.
So you
I just felt like
that. I hated that.
Well, I think our reasons are the same though. You don't like it because it was never established in the movie, and so you don't think it should be said here if it's not already a fact. I feel like they should have said it in the movie, and they didn't. So the fact that they said it here, I'm like, cool, okay, yeah.
But it was my head when I saw this. I was like, "Oh, here we go."
Yeah, but it was kind of a tie between that and particularly like the Leia and Wicket moment where they're like, "Hey, old friend." I liked that a lot because you know Leia is my favorite character, and as you know, I have a soft spot for Ewoks, so I like seeing that a little bit together.
You know what they missed from that scene too? They missed like Leia embracing Wicket and then putting him down, and then going over to Han and then like being on his leg, going. Like purring on his leg. I think that would have been really funny because it would have been like, oh yeah, he did that too.
I was actually kind of wondering, like at this point, why not? Why not just have like Nisa or some of the others from the cartoon be there? I kind of wondered, like when we saw it was a whole, like we saw the whole village and the camp and everything. I kind of thought maybe they'd be like, and this is Nisa. So I was hoping
this is your wife now,
Yeah, I was hoping like that, fingers crossed on that, but it didn't happen. But I did appreciate how much Ewoks content there was at the end there. We got a good solid chunk on Endor, and I thought that was pretty cool. So of course we had to cover it. As responsible Star Wars journalists. it was our duty.
I mean, we do this episode anyway, but we would just tear it apart,
That's right.
How dare you?
Yeah, I do remember there at least being like Ewok cameos in the holiday special, but there really was nothing in Terrifying Tales, so I was glad that they got a little bit of time here. So, pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Could have been worse, could have been better. I had a good time. That's pretty much my takeaway from it. So
absolutely. I think so too, yeah.
For next episode, it's going to be Star Trek Day, not Star Wars Day. So we're going to cross franchises, and we're going to be covering season 1, episode 4 of Star Trek: The Animated Series. This is the Lorelei signal. It's the only time in Star Trek history where Uhura takes command of the ship.
Yeah.
So we're gonna cover that one in honor of the late great Nichelle Nichols. So you can catch us there when we're doing that, and then eventually the next episode will be what we'll
get back to Ewoks.
We'll get to. I forgot it. What was it?
We are doing Ewoks.
We'll Gone with the Mimps.
Mimps.
Gone with the Mimps. Yeah. Yep.
That sounds like it's just going to be gold.
It does. I agree. All right. Well, I guess I'll see you next time on the Bridge of the Enterprise.
Yeah. See you there.
So long.
This Endorian Life was brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. Other shows on this network include 90s Music Got Me Like, previously on X-Men, and 9021 Here We Go! Share your thoughts on this and upcoming episodes by following us on Facebook or Twitter @Endorian Life, and please rate, subscribe, and share this show wherever you get your podcasts.